Hello there, my name's Anthony Pelly and I farm on the Pressure Estate in Hampshire, and I'm a member of the Winchester Downs cluster group. The estate is about 1,300 acres. It's mixed with about 300 acres of woodland, 300 acres of pasture, and the rest is arable. We mostly grow cereal crops, barley and wheat being the predominant ones. So my family have been farming here for 6 generations and it was taken on in the late 1920s and we farmed ever since. Pressure is designated as a National Heritage Asset and we are preserving the tranquility and beauty of this place for the nation. There are a few other places in the country that household names that you might recognise, the likes of Chatsworth and Blenheim. The joy of the cluster group has been that I've been able to meet and basically glean knowledge from my neighbours as well as work with them on projects which by doing it alone I wouldn't be able to achieve, but as a group we can achieve on a much larger scale. I think for people walking through this place and watching this online, the key message would be that nothing here really happens by mistake. This is a designed landscape and we are growing nature here in the form of all our conservation plots and so on. And it's all been carefully thought out and run for generations now. So sustainability for us means diversification and we have fairly broad ranging enterprises here, from our arable to our livestock behind us. Forestry operations, a shoot, and significant conservation projects as well. Yes, so we are heavily involved in the high-level stewardship scheme, which has been running for over a decade now. We have a variety of projects going on here, from archaeological preservation to floristic margins and parkland creation and restoration, as well as growing seed mix plots for wild birds in the wintertime. So the floristic margins require active management. To get the best out of them, we have to cut them every year or so, or graze them quite tight, and this really brings out the flowers in them. So the woodlands require ongoing management. With the sad loss of the ash trees here, we've replaced about 7,000 trees with young stock now, as well as bolstering our hedgerows and the woodland edges. And what's been key has been to replace this one species that has fallen foul to this disease with 15 different species of native hardwoods and softwoods. So archaeology-wise, we have 2 scheduled ancient monuments which we are preserving in grassland, and we also have a rich tapestry of archaeological remains, settlements, a deserted medieval village, Roman temple sites, as well as some significant finds here which are dotted around. And Pressure is quite exceptional in that it's been consistently inhabited and since prehistoric times. I think going forward, the big changes we will now be really embracing is carbon capture and climate credits. Also, we really need to increase our yields to keep up with our competitors in North America and so on. And we're going to have to really look quite hard at our soil science and what's beneath our feet here to get the most out of this land, whilst also treading lightly on nature and hopefully preserving that as best we can.
I'm Mark Cheney and I'm part of the Winchester cluster group. So we farm here at Middle Farm Cheriton. We're farming 300 acres plus we rent a lot of extra ground to help feed all these wonderful cows, which we have 600 of those milking, and then we have all their calves and followers coming along as well. So all in all there's about 1,000 cows. They eat a lot of food, so each cow's eating between 50 and 55 kilos of feed a day. So they're obviously grass, but then in the winter the grass stops growing, so we have to preserve grass, which we'd make silage. The other counter side of that, if they're eating that much food, they're producing that much slurry and muck. And so our 3 main jobs are feeding the cows, dealing with the muck, and then milking the cows, and that keeps us all pretty busy. So now we've just installed a slurry separator, which enables us to really utilise the feed value of the slurry, so we can split the liquid portion from the solid portion. The liquid portion, you've got the nitrogen, which obviously makes things grow, and in the solid portion you have the phosphates and potashes, which help in a different way. And so we can target those nutrients into the fields and places we need it. And it also, with escalating costs at the moment, and our actual product has been sort of slow to go up. It has gone up now, so we're now on about 40 pence a litre, which it needed to go up that 10 pence to cover our actual increased cost of production. So they're milked twice a day. So the guys start at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then they're milked again at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it takes about 4 hours to milk them all. So it's and we're producing on a daily basis about 13,500 litres. The vending machine's open 24 hours a day, and you can come in and you buy your bottle and buy your milk and put it under the thing, and it fills it up for you.
Hi, I'm Robert Rames and I farm here with Gussie, my wife, at Titchbourne. We're farming 720 hectares. We have 3 main enterprises: arable, beef and stewardship, and we have a small vineyard. We have a very, very simple system. We grow winter wheat primarily for milling. We grow spring barley for malting, and we grow spring beans for feed. We're up at Gander Down right now, and this is the South Downs Way. This is a block of 400 acres worth of arable, all cropped in spring barley, but the bird life that we have here is just super fantastic. We have skylark numbers absolutely rocketing, we have linnets, we have corn bunting, we have some grey partridge. Our hare numbers are super fantastic. We planted a small vineyard in 2011. The reason we can grow grapes on the South Downs, we can grow award-winning grapes and wines on the South Downs, it comes down to our soil type, and it is because of what's underneath, and that is chalk. It's the same piece of chalk that is over in Epinay. It goes under the channel and it arrives up in France. Because we are slightly cooler, our growing season is slightly longer, and that simply means that we have more intensity of flavour in the grapes, and that is transposed into the wine, in the aroma and in the taste. The one thing that we're doing as farmers, I think the one thing that we've got to look at as farmers going forward is sustainability. Everything we do impacts on something else, and we are mighty aware of that. We are trying to A, produce food, and B, be here for the future, and C, do that in a sustainable way that doesn't impact or enhances the environment around it. And we desperately try to do that to the best of our ability.
So welcome to the Upper Itchen in Martyworthy. The River Itchen is one of the finest chalk streams in the world, famed for its head of wild brown trout. My name is Simon Fennell. I am a member of the Winchester Downs Clusters Group, and I am responsible for looking after this stretch of the river. My main task is to try to create the ideal habitat for those wild brown trout. That ideal habitat also benefits most other creatures that live either in or beside the river. It so happens that that ideal habitat is what is most pleasing on the eye when you stand on the public footbridge and look into the river and see that lovely gravel riverbed, and in the summer clumps of aquatic weed. The key factor that governs whether you have that ideal habitat is flow. If you have a good flow, then your gravel will remain silt-free and you will get a healthy growth of aquatic weed. That aquatic weed is very important to the trout because it provides protection for them to hide when threatened by a predator, and at the same time it hosts a number of invertebrate creatures that the trout feed on. My main task during the winter is to try to preserve that flow by stabilising the riverbanks. A stretch of chalk stream left unattended will see the banks erode and collapse, leading to an over-widening of the channel and a subsequent loss of flow. My main task in the summer is to cut the weed. Whilst the weed is very important, if left uncut, it will swamp the river and lead to all sorts of flooding issues. So we cut the weed using chest waders and a long-handled scythe, and our main aim is to try to preserve that balance between open gravel and weed cover in an imaginary checkerboard pattern where every white square is an open space of gravel and every black square is a clump of weed. And if you can achieve that, then you will indeed have created the ideal habitat for the wild brown trout. So I hope you enjoy your visit to the Upper Itchen. It is one of nature's finest creations, albeit with a little bit of assistance from the riverkeeper.